Bluff City Media presents The Anthony Sain Show on YouTube at Bluff City Media. Stepping up to the microphone is your host, Anthony Sain.
Acknowledge me.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Anthony Sain Show. This, of course, is your host, Anthony Sain, recording from a remote location today. Me and my guy, Kenny Stubblefield. Kenny, what's going on, my brother?
What's up, my brother? You good, man?
Man, trying to make it for they take it, bro. Trying to stay warm in a cold world, bro. That's all I'm trying to do right here. Yeah, man, we are here for another Anthony Sain Show. A lot of things going on in local sports with the Grizzlies and the Tigers, man. Y'all know this the gist of what we talk about in this show for the most part. Got my man Parish Sharkey coming in for the sit down with Sain. He's going to talk some Tiger basketball, going to talk some Grizzlies with us, man, amongst other things. The three-pointer today, man. A lot of people just run off in the mouth, man, just saying wild stuff last few days. We're going to talk about some of that. And for the inside the same brain, we're going to talk about the Grammys, man. Do you watch them? Or just award shows in general, do you watch them? What do you look to get from them? Do you have the outrage when your guy doesn't win the award and all those type of stuff? Yeah, we'll talk about that. Plenty of Taylor Swift for the ratings. We'll talk about plenty of Taylor Swift today for the ratings, man, for sure. But since the last time we talked, Kenny Stubblefield, your Memphis Tigers, our Memphis Tigers, my Memphis Tigers, broke the streak, man. We came out and we beat Wichita State. I would love to come out here and talk about a game where the Grizzlies were at home and just ran away with Wichita State and just beat them from bell to bell and won by 10, 12, 15, 20 points. I love to talk about that. But we're talking about a David Jones buzzer beater in the game where the Grizzlies were down the entire game.
Tiger, you keep saying the Grizzlies. I know we want the Grizzlies to win, but it's the Tigers you're talking
about. The Tigers were down for the most of that game, and then came back. I think they're down 14 with about 8 minutes to go. David Jones scored, I think, 16 points during that stretch, if I'm not mistaken.
Crazy, right?
For the Tigers do come away with a 65-63 victory against Wichita State. I've got kind of mixed feelings about it, man. I'm excited. Here's my thing. It's a lot better to come away with a win while you're still figuring stuff out than to lose. You know what I mean? And it's crazy because earlier when they were winning these tight games, we weren't particularly saying they were trying to figure things out, right? We were just saying, oh, man, it's just this. It's just they'll be okay. But we see now this team has had some type of issues they're trying to push through, whether that's chemistry, whether that's whatever. So,
well, according to Penny, it ain't chemistry.
Hey, I don't know what
even though he said it was chemistry issues, according to him now it's not chemistry issues, and the media is ridiculous for even inserting that into the narrative this year. So,
hey, poor Jason Mullins too, man, for just getting chewed up. I get just getting chewed up by David Jones. I'm gonna say this right here, man. Now we've seen. Go ahead.
That was one of the coolest because one of the things you can tell with David is when David comes out and talks, he's always got Javon with him mainly because English is a second language. You know, he's not entirely comfortable talking in front of a group of random ass white dudes that don't know him in English, right? Like he's not entirely comfortable with that yet. But that was a classic moment, right?
Yeah, David Jones full of shit too. But I mean, we'll move on. I think he's full of shit.
Of course he is.
I've seen too many stories of stuff he's said and done. Maybe think, oh man, I'm not good with my English. Yeah, okay, yeah, all right.
I know for a fact that these guys are watching, are paying attention to the stuff that the media is saying, and that's fine. Like, I don't think anything that has been said has been inappropriate at all about where the Tigers are at.
Yeah, but poor Jason Mullins, man, just a generally nice guy to get chewed up by David Jones. And I'll say this, man. Like we've seen stories of Russell Westbrook and all these guys that are difficult. John Morant can be a difficult interview, you know what I mean, as well. I ain't taking that from no freaking college dude, right? You gotta get this work from me, man. But yeah.
How would you let me ask you this? How would you in that moment if you asked the question, how do you block out the noise?
I'm running my mouth. I would have took it. I would have took it for sure. Yeah. I just hate it's kind of like we put these guys in situations where there's only one answer we want from them. But when we 100%. Get the answer, like, man, I don't even know what you're talking about. I ain't noticed nothing. Like, that's when you're like, oh shit. Like, but we don't expect guys to do that. But why we ask questions that we only want one answer from?
Well, I mean, even Bluff City Media's own Roman Cleary got caught with that with Javon this last game. He said he asked him the question, do you think you saved your season with this game? And Javon's answer was probably, or something like that. And Roman comes up to me afterwards and he's like, I was hoping for a better answer than that, or a more in-depth answer than that. And I'm like, yeah, man, you got what you got, bro.
we got to stop like kind of like framing a question for a quote, like framing a question for a story or a quote or
story.
They just let these dudes get their shit off, man. Like why would Quinn say, "Oh yeah, man, we saved the season just in"? He's like, "No, man, we got 9 games left." Like, those guys think on a totally different level than how we think as media for sure.
The way he said it was dope. He said, "You could say that." So Roman asked him, "Did y'all save the season?" He said, "You could say that." Like that's all he said.
Right.
Yeah. It was great.
Stuff, man. But like I said, I'm not really worried about the Tigers, man. I might die on this sword, but I think that they're a super talented team. I think once Penny figures it out, they're a February team, man. This is what they've done every year since Penny been here. They've made a run in the month of February, man, for sure. But I tell you what, Kenny, I'm gonna slide them out of the way. We're gonna go take a break. When we come back, man, my guy Parish Sharkey is gonna jump on with us, man. We're gonna talk some Grizzlies, talk some Tigers with him here on the Anthony Sain Show. We will see you guys in a minute.
And my best of the week is these little old Southern ladies who come in for their physical therapy and bring me sweets, man. Lemon pound cake with fresh blueberries in it.
Gosh.
Or
and it's always good when they say, "Oh, dude, like what's this called?" And it's always like, "It's a lemon surprise."
When you're taking care of these little old ladies, like they appreciate you so much, man, and they're just like, "I just want to shower you with gifts."
Very grateful, right?
I am very grateful. They are too, and they bring me sweets. My favorite story about this was when I was working in Magnolia in the outpatient clinic there in Corinth. I had a lady in her. I was asking her during her eval, like, "What are your hobbies? What do you like to do?" She said, "I like to bake, and I make the best cheesecake you've ever had in your life." I said, "I don't believe it." She goes, "Well, I'll make you one." I said, "Okay."
Played that perfectly.
She came back to her next appointment with a cherry, strawberry, and blueberry, and I'll PG it up. But she said, "I know what you did, you little SOB." And it worked.
Tune in to the $2 Sports Show with Rusty Witten and Drew Gann every Friday at 3 p.m. only on the Bluff City Media YouTube channel.
When you get everybody healthy,
when you get BC back,
when you get Steve, like think about the top 8 when they're back healthy. Ooh. This is what's exciting about all this new stuff with Vince and Gigi. They're top 8 when they get back healthy. Ja, Jaron, Dez, Steven, Marcus, Vince Williams Jr., Luke Kennard,
Brandon Clark.
Santi,
and then you could go Santi.
Yeah.
That's
David
9.
Roddy is 10.
Yeah, see if David Roddy or Gigi is a 10th, like damn.
Yeah.
Like this team, as much as this is a lost season, because it is, you have seen some things come to fruition that you didn't expect come to fruition.
Absolutely.
And going into next year, I'm about as positive as I've ever been about what this team could accomplish. Yeah. I really am.
Tune in to On the Bluff with Christian Fowler and Gabe Kuhn every Tuesday at 12 p.m. on the Bluff City Media YouTube channel.
What was the most concerning thing Penny said after yesterday's game for you? I think no players talked. Finally, Buns or somebody crawled through the air vent and heard some quotes from the locker room air vent.
And I don't think anything stood out to me in particularly. I know that.
I mean, Penny saying he walked in, it was just a bunch of blank stares. Like, give me a Keontae or somebody punching a brick wall and breaking your wrist. Show me that you care. Why do I care more than you who is playing the game? Do you have not a competitive bone in your body?
I legitimately.
Why are they not pissed off that they're losing to inferior teams and being embarrassed?
Tune in to Tigers Untapped with TJ Willis and Trey Lasley every Wednesday at 3 p.m. on the Bluff City Media YouTube channel.
All right, y'all. Welcome back to the Anthony Sain Show. Time for the sit down with Sain. Got my man Parish Sharkey, man, the Grizzlies beat writer for Bluff City Media. He's here each and every Wednesday, and he joins us now. Parish, what's going on, my brother?
All right, what's good, Sain?
Man, good, man. Good to have you on today. Kind of some strange times right now as far as local sports concerned, where you're talking about the Grizzlies or you're talking about the Tigers. The Grizzlies just kind of throwing whatever out there. 13 out of 15 guys are missing in action with injuries. A lot of guys on 10-day contracts, all these type of things. I had this really cool theory, Parish. I had this really cool stat I was keeping up with, right, of games since December 19th. The Grizzlies were winning about 60% of those, right? In this 5-game set, they're 0-4. So this looks like the stat is going to fall off a little bit this time, just a little bit with the Grizzlies so far, bringing in all these guys on 10-day contracts, trying to get looks at guys with all the injuries they have. Then you have, Tiger basketball, who is going through the situation they're going through, loses 4 straight games before getting the win of the night against Wichita State. Like I talked about in the first segment, wasn't the best looking victory, wasn't a convincing victory. You were losing the entire game, down by 12 or so points with about 8 minutes left. And then, of course, 14. David Jones goes crazy in that game. And, Penny's talking like, we got this figured out. And I'm like, look like the same shit to me. You know what I mean? But, we'll have to see as far as that goes. How are you dealing with just what seemed like it was going to be? We knew about John's suspension, but the injuries, we didn't predict that to come. And this Tiger team was number 10 in the nation. How are you, as a Memphis basketball fan, especially someone who covers the Grizzlies, how are you digesting these games right now?
Man, just going through the motions right now. It's tough times, but I think brighter days are here. It's like brighter days are here, and it's like we're taking a temporary setback for literally a major comeback, because we know it's coming. Like, dude, we're not about to have. I highly doubt we have these injuries. I'm not going to necessarily say we're not going to have these injuries ever again, but I highly doubt this won't be
this level of injuries,
right, to this level of how everybody been just going in and out of the lineup. So yeah, we're just like straight up going through the motions. As with Tiger basketball, same thing every year. We go through the same thing every year. So ain't no difference in that. We built for this.
Yeah, we've gotten used to it for sure, man. Haven't talked to you since the Steven Adams trade happened live on the show last week after I had gotten with you. What are your thoughts on the Steven Adams deal? A deal that sent Steven Adams to Houston, with our good friend Dylan Brooks sent back 3 second-round picks, and also Victor Oladipo, who ain't been nowhere near Memphis since this trade has happened, at least not to my knowledge. So what are your thoughts on that deal, and what do you think that sets up for the future?
Cool. It's been real, Steve-O. I'd said it on your show before. Like, he was the person I said we need to go and move on, because, like I said, 3rd year in a row, he's been unavailable when we needed him the most. Remember, the first year he got benched, or he got played off the court with Carlton Towns and mismatching that Minnesota series. And then last year hurt, this year hurt. Like, I can't go through another season trying to trust him when it's time to actually step up next year. So you got the best that you could, because hypothetically they probably should got rid of him last summer. 3 second-round picks. I really couldn't probably ask for anything better for a player who hasn't played since last January. So I think a lot of Grizzlies fans are they're hurt at the thought of Steven Adams instead of the reality. And we haven't seen him play since last January. You're right. And like, he's been a good player, and probably a bench role is where he's going to be in Houston behind your boy, Michael.
Michael
Harrell.
Yeah. And the audacity of Michael to hold up a sign talking about, I'm going to miss you, Steve-O, as if they about to be teammates next year in Houston. That's the crazy. That's the crazy part. The audacity, But to that point, though, go ahead.
I'll just finish this. Tear it off salary to help them, because they're gonna go. There's a bank contract kicking in, so cut a player who's gonna cost a lot, who hasn't played for you in 2 years. Yeah, I think it's the right move.
Do you think that is any indication of possible health, like a health issue or recovery issue with them? Like, they know something, like, especially when you hear, because the talk in Houston was like, oh, line him up beside Sengun, they're gonna be unstoppable. And that quickly turned into coming off the bench for Sengun. Like, that narrative changed in the middle of that day of the trade. So do you think that it's kind of known, or it's kind of out there that he may not be recovering well from his knee surgery or whatever?
Either that, or just the thought of he's about to be 30, if he's not already 30, and he's a big man coming off a serious knee injury. So either what you just said, or just the fact that that's the case. Like, he's getting older, he's already a big man, and it's a major knee injury, he might not be the same player anyway, regardless.
Right. I don't talk to Taylor Jenkins the way that you do. I don't see him at press conferences, but in a past press conference, they were asked about the Steven Adams deal, and they asked him what he thought about how do you replace a Steven Adams type player? How do you move on from this? And he just gave you your normal word salad. He was just saying a bunch of weird stuff that he gave you a real chat GPT answer, right? You know what I mean? He's saying that, we have a lot of options to explore. You might want to have, Jaren playing some of the 5. You might want to get a guy that's a Steven Adams clone, but never really giving you a true answer. This kind of sent Grizz Twitter, especially, into a frenzy. And not just Grizz Twitter, Reddit, Facebook, anywhere social media, people are talking about this. And it seems like people are interpreting this as Jaren might be the starting center going forward. I didn't take it that way. I looked at that as an option. I think we've seen Jaren play center before. We've seen Jaren play center a lot. Some of our best lineups are closing lineups that they have Jaren Jackson Jr., either with Asante Aldama or Brandon Clark or even Xavier Tillman. So what do you think this signals? What do you think they're going to make a move possibly the deadline or sometime between now and next season? Do you think we're going to go into the draft and try to find their big man and kind of bring him up slowly, bring him into a rotation that has maybe a Brandon Clark, Xavier Tillman, Santi, whatever you're doing? Or do you think they're going to try to make a deal? Or how do you think they're going to handle that center situation, which we've seen is a big deal for the Grizzlies this year?
I think it's kind of tough to answer. I think everything you just said, they're going to look into all options. Yeah, they're going to probably play Jaren a lot at center the rest of the season just to see, right? They might go ahead, if Brandon Clark is healthy enough to play, they might go ahead and just bring him back this season to go ahead and have him
see what that looks like.
Yeah, go and see what it looks like and get him playing minutes. You don't want to start next season with him coming back if he can come back this season. Right. They might test some stuff out. It feels like nothing's gonna happen before deadline center wise, but it doesn't feel like it, right? It feels like they're gonna make a smaller deal for something else for salary purposes, but I don't feel like the center thing is gonna happen. Partially because I don't know if any centers on the market. The guy we talked about, Nick Claxton, I haven't seen the Nets definitely say they traded him, right? So I look at that as more in the offseason, especially after everybody see what pick the Grizzlies actually get in the lottery, right? Once you actually see the pick, and then the Nets might be like, okay, hey, give us the lottery pick. We'll give you, yada, yada. Get these 2 players for this 1 player, however it goes from that point forward. So I think they're going to really kind of they're going to tap into all those things you just said. They're going to look into all options, looking how Jaren looks at center, looking how he looks with Santi, playing them 2 together. Look, if Brandon Clark can come back, bring him back and just see how it works. I do think Xavier Tillman's time is probably coming to an end. Either at this trade deadline or he's a free agent this offseason. It feels like it with him, but I could be wrong. But it just feels like it's time.
Right, those knees are just really letting him down. Seems like he's missing a lot of games, and even in games when he's playing, you can just tell he's laboring because of those knees or whatever. I think a lot of it is just kind of overblown because with the whole center thing, there was a tweet that came out, a story about Draymond Green. He was saying, he almost signed with the Grizzlies, and you figure he was about to take an MLE. He was going to sign for the MLE, right? Because that's all we really had available this summer. And I'm looking at that whole situation. I'm like, okay, if you sign Draymond, you signed Draymond to start, right? And he would have been starting next to Jaren. And Jaren on paper would have been the center, but Jaren's role would have stayed as the roamer. He would have been able to roam and switch on defense. I think all this stuff about Jaren being the center is just kind of overblown because it's not like you're saying, okay, Jaren, you got to go be our leading rebounder. You got to stay up under the basket. I think it depends on who the 4 is. You know what I mean? If it's a Draymond Green, if it's whoever, if it's a guy who can, rebound, defend, all these type of things, or whatever we envision peak level Xavier Tillman to be really, that would be the perfect guy to have besides Jaren or a healthy Brandon Clark. You know what I mean? I think those type of things matter. I don't think they're gonna. I think what Jaren's listed as on paper doesn't matter as long as he's able to roam and be like the player he was when he was defensive player of the year last year, playing beside Steven Adams and a healthy Xavier Tillman throughout the season. So I just think all those things pretty overblown. Do you pretty much agree with me on that?
Yeah, facts. Because I was always of the opinion that, like, man, Jaren can play center, but I did always put the caveat in: if you get a rebounding power forward, play him, right? So I like.
Yeah, I mean, if Draymond Green's your forward, Jaren can be the center, and it's just on paper. He's the taller player. Like it's not just like it's not like he's going up against Joel Embiid or something. It'll be still the power forward that'll be guarding him or whatever.
Exactly.
interesting name that's been thrown out around the trade deadline is Killian Hayes. There was a report came out that the Grizzlies are interested in Killian Hayes. A lot of fans didn't really understand this move. My antenna got the peaking, man, because I'm like, oh shit, like, okay, that's not a basketball move. So what's that move for, right? Plus, I kind of heard some things about the Grizzlies and Detroit in the past, right? And I know Detroit has been in a lot of our games, scouting and whatever, right? So I look up Killian Hayes' contract. I'm like, hey, this kid's got expiring contract.
Yep.
This looks like a deal that could get, dare I say, one or both of a Zaire Williams and a Jake LaRavia off this roster. Both guys do fit. If you do a 2-for-1, both guys do fit. I doubt Detroit is going to take both of those contracts back unless you're going to give them some nice draft compensation. But would you be willing to do a move with Detroit to move either Zaire or Jake LaRavia? Get that contract to basically disappear as well as their roster spot for Killian Hayes, who might be the worst player in the NBA.
Absolutely, because basically you're signing. Basically, you're trading for. You already have GT Jackson on your team. You're basically essentially traded for him in this trade because he's the roster spot that you opened up for. Yeah. So yeah, definitely.
And I can see more stuff like that happening. I can see the Grizzlies making a few moves like that. I can see John Conchar getting out of here in a deal like that, where you basically just give him away for nothing and you just get draft compensation back for him, possibly maybe a second round pick for him, trade him into space on the team. And for, I can definitely see something like that with him. Tillman, like we said. I just think with these draft picks that you got for Steven Adams, you might have to pay to play, to move some of these guys. I saw a lot of fans saying, yeah, man, I'd take Killian Hayes and a second round pick for Zaire. I'm like, no, man, it would be the other way around. We would be giving them the draft compensation. Yeah, for them to take that contract and then for his contract to disappear off of ours. But like I said, man, I don't think it's going to be a super busy deadline. I would love to see a Nick Claxton, Dorian Finney-Smith deal come across my phone. I think that's a big-time dream. Or Andre Drummond and who was the name I was saying? Who's hurt for the year?
Levine.
Levine. Yeah, I would love something like that as well if that's on the table. But I realize that's all, pretty much fantasy talk. Like I said, man, it's been a lot of 10-day guys coming in. We got the dude Tosan, who looks like a fake ass Yves Pons. I don't know his last name. I'm not even going to play with dude last name. He's from England. 21 Savage, or whatever we're gonna call him. Have no real clue what that dude does other than rebound and just kind of run around and look athletic. But he's been fine. He's been okay. Can't shoot at all. Trey Jemison is been okay. Had foul trouble the other game in his first start for the Grizzlies' first NBA start. And Scottie Pippen Jr. has been incredible. Matthew Hurt has been Matthew Hurt, whatever Matthew Hurt is. What are your thoughts on those 4 players, those guys that we've added since all this turmoil has happened?
Yeah, Scottie Pippen Jr. He's the NBA player, straight up.
Yeah, he's looking like he's gonna be our backup point guard next year. Like
low key, we might be opening up another roster spot for him, or just keep him on 2-way next year, and he just I'm
sorry, let me take that back. He'll be the only true backup point guard, like that third point guard.
Yeah,
because Marcus Smart is going to be
Marcus Smart be the backup. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah,
I know what you meant. Yeah, I know what you meant. So essentially, he's the only other true point guard. They'll be on the roster next year, and he's the player. I've seen enough out of him to know. I knew him back in his Vanderbilt days. I kind of wonder why he was in the league. And I saw him
these guys who are tons of players, man. They see the great stuff close, bro. They get access to stuff that regular kids don't get. And when Scottie Pippen's your dad, he's in the gym taking your game to a whole nother level. He's a late bloomer because he didn't really get going until really he went to college. But he can play, man, for sure. Yep. I don't know if I caught what you said. You have them bringing him back as a 2-way guy again next year, though, right?
More like a 2-way. I could see a potential if he, depending on how he does the rest of this season, that they try and open up another roster spot for him. But that might be a tall task because you're probably not getting rid of all 3 of Zaire, LaRavia, and Roddy.
Yeah, and you got to sign your first round draft pick too. So.
Exactly. So it would be hard to probably get him on the roster, but they might next year. We might be looking at potential. What happened with what's our guy? I forget his name. Vince Williams Jr. this year. Right. We might see that with Scottie Pippen next year potentially.
Yeah.
As for the other guys, Matthew Hurt. I mean, we knew he was signing here for 10 days. He was signed because they ran out of roster space.
This 10 days. This 10 days is over, right?
No, it was last Monday, so he has tonight's. Go ahead. I guess this show's coming out Wednesday. I guess it will be over at that point because 10-day is on trade deadline day, I believe.
Yeah, let's get Hurt up out of here, man. I've seen my field of Matthew Hurt, I believe. Let's bring somebody else in.
Right. Shout out to him for getting an NBA contract. So he got his 10 days. Now he got to go back down to the Memphis Hustle.
Shout out to them being at the house. I'm saying, hey man, we short. Come run with us tonight. All right, bet.
Right. Tosan,
10 days worth of NBA money for it,
Right. And as for Tosan, he had not? How many rebounds he had in the first quarter? The other night?
9 in the first quarter of the night.
Yeah, 9. That's impressive. Like that's something. But everything else, I ain't really see much else out of him. But getting that many rebounds, he look like he's going to attack the boards, and that's something we've been missing this season.
Yeah,
apparently. As for Trey Jamison, I think Grizz Twitter overhyped him. He's been doing okay, like you said, but by the way, he was getting hyped up on Twitter. I thought he was going to be
a double machine.
I thought he was going to be some, but he's been okay. He hasn't.
He's a rookie though.
Yeah, but just way Twitter, man. You thought that man was about to.
Oh yeah.
He's about to come.
I was part of that. I was part of that hype train for sure. But back to the Tosan kid. Like, what is he, bro? Like, is he a 4? Is he a small ball 5? Is he just like, what is he? Like a 3-4, maybe 4-3? Because Jenkins is using him as a 5.
He's using him as a 5. So yeah. I have no clue. I haven't seen. Yeah. I need to see more of him to kind of gauge it. He got how many more days he got left? They signed last Tuesday.
Him and Jemison got signed the same day. They go through the deadline.
Friday. Yeah, so basically a day after the deadline, Friday. So we'll see 2 more games of him to see what more can he provide for the team. But yeah, it's kind of tough like in this short time span, especially when everybody's kind of playing out of position. You really don't truly know what he really is right yet.
Do you have any concern on GG Jackson's up and down play, or do you just pretty much expect with the level of guys he's playing with? Like, I look at this and I'm like, okay, when that kid's out there with John and them, like we talk about Zaire Williams, like, oh, Ja unlocked Zaire Williams, right? Like, screw that dude. Like, GG's the dude I want to see out there with Ja, whatever. Like, do you think it's a good thing, though? He's just kind of out there with guys that aren't really even on his skill level. And, well, in my opinion, are not on his skill level. Do you think that's a good thing for him to get, go through the ropes now? Or do you think it can kind of hurt him, kind of like a Dylan Brooks did when he was playing on that bad team his rookie year?
I think it helped him. The difference between him and Dylan Brooks, he know we got Ja Morant and Desmond Bain and Jerry Jackson. Dylan, on the other end, that was before that came. So yeah, it was kind of like, I think he had Mike who was hurt. I don't even think Mark had they got rid of Mark yet his rookie year. No, Mark had to be there because Mark was with Jaren came.
That was the year he was hurt. So, Mark got hurt.
Yeah,
that year.
So I guess Dylan knew they were coming back, but they were older though. So even then, they were Mike and Mark getting older. So Dylan did have that mentality. Oh, this is my team. GG, Ja and them are young, so now he can.
He already knows. Yeah, and that's another thing too. You got to give Taylor Jenkins credit for. I think he kind of knows that I've got a special talent in GG. If I let him go out there and just start wrecking shit, he can turn into a Dylan Brooks type player. Like, let me put him in some real game scenarios, and I kind of put the reins on him to not let him just go to that level where he's, going off like that. But he's got the talent, man. He's been up and down, but he definitely has the talent for sure. Another odd story that involved the Memphis Grizzlies is your boy Tony Snell, right? We talked about this last week, how Tony Snell needed to play. He needs to sign a real deal. He couldn't sign he could sign a 10-day, but he couldn't sign it couldn't be part of an injury exception, I believe. I think there was something about the rule with that. But the Grizzlies didn't qualify. But all these media people were saying the Grizzlies are shorthanded. Why didn't y'all sign Tony Snell, right? I'm like, man, get the hell out of here, bro. Like, you play for a Boston Celtics G League team. Like, the only team that's responsible for you is Boston. Like, why are people trying to make have you seen that though? People are trying to say that the Grizzlies should have signed Tony Snell. You haven't seen that at all?
I haven't seen it, but I'm not shocked that you bring it up.
It's like everybody's really they're getting their shit off on us this year. And I'm like, man, get out of here, bro. Like, we have no obligation to sign Tony Snell, bro. Like, at all.
Wait,
like, he literally plays for Boston.
But we literally had no space to sign him.
We didn't have no spaces for him. Yeah. Yeah, man. Yeah, crazy stuff. Crazy stuff for sure. Another thing that I want to talk about with you as far as the Grizzlies are concerned, today they dropped a new basketball court. Did not see this coming. Quite a surprise. Around 10 o'clock today, Memphis Grizzlies unveiled a all-gray basketball court that's supposed to look like a street ball court. It's kind of like a rustic kind of it's not like the little rustic wood look. It's wood, of course. It's not concrete, but it looks like concrete. It's supposed to mimic a concrete court, the imperfections of a concrete court. What are your thoughts on it? All gray and white with the gold and black court, the max with the city uniforms. It's surprising this late in the season we're just not seeing it. And how do the Grizzlies? We know the Grizzlies keep secrets, but this isn't the first time they revealed a mid-season either court or a uniform out here. What are your thoughts on that whole court situation they revealed this morning?
Man, it looks pretty cool from the graphic of it. It looks not, it ain't the exact same as in-season tournament court, but it reminds me a little bit of it. But it got the the concrete looking structure with it. So it kind of reminds me of that. But I can't wait to see it in person because I bet in person it's
I want to see it on TV.
Super nice. Yeah, on TV.
Yeah, I want to see it looks like on TV.
It might
for sure.
On TV too.
Yeah, it'll probably look pretty sweet, that all gray court like that. But yeah, man, pretty good stuff, pretty cool stuff going on with the Grizzlies with the new court and things like that. Switching over to the Tigers real fast. I talked about a little bit about this to open up the show. I'm listening to sports radio the other day, right? And people are calling in, 3 straight people calling into, I want to say Jason and John's show, and they were saying the Tigers need to bring back Jermaine Johnson, right? I'm like, this ain't a knock at JJ, because I know JJ is one of the best high school coaches in the city of Memphis history, right? I'm like, okay, how did y'all know that? Like, because they were saying that JJ had the defense tight. I was like, okay, y'all knew that was the thing. Like, I didn't know. It's ignorance of my point. I didn't know what Coach JJ's role was on this team. But there were people like constantly calling in saying Jermaine Johnson needs to come back. I said, okay, that was pretty strange. Then I look up the very next day, bro, and we get news that Jermaine Johnson is back at the University of Memphis. Real funny story. JJ is a guy that he's just kind of stuck around, man. He's definitely showing his value. It's just such an odd story, though, man. At this point in the season, to bring somebody in, not as an assistant coach, but as an advisor for your team over your defense. Just more oddities to add to this already peculiar University of Memphis season. What are your thoughts on Jermaine Johnson coming back again with Coach Penny Hardaway?
Hey, they had one of their better defensive performances on Saturday, so
yeah,
I take it.
Yeah,
Hey, if he really did, apparently he helped with the defense because I saw a different defense on Saturday. So yeah, welcome.
Yeah,
welcome
man. I can't think of the guy's name. I think his name was Dundee or Bundy or something like that. Like
Bundy,
Muhammad Ali's guy. Like that's kind of who Coach JJ has become with Penny, man. You can't separate them. No matter how they try to part ways, they find a way to get back together for sure, man. Wild stuff. Final question with my man Parish Sharkey. Of course, he's a Grizzlies beat writer for Bluff City Media. As far as the Tigers go, man, what are these next? I think it's 9 more games left they got on the season. What does the rest of the season look like? Is this a team that fights their way into the at-large bid? Or are they a team that is just going to out-talent these teams when it comes down to the chips being on the table in the AAC tournament? Or are they a team that's going to come up short and have a disappointing season to finish it for Coach Penny Hardaway?
Yeah. First up, shout out to Francis. He hosted the Tigers post-game show for Bluff City Media. I was on there with him after the game on Saturday, and he asked me, I think, a similar, same type of question. Yeah. We both were like more 50-50 on the turning around or, kind of saying some of the same stuff. I believe they would probably turn it around and get it at large bid. And the reason I say this is because sometimes teams just hit a slump. They hit that 4-game slump and they couldn't figure out what the problem was.
Yeah.
And when the chips fell, they were down by 14 points with their season on the line on Saturday night or Saturday afternoon. They rose to the occasion, made the comeback, finally called good offensive set plays for the game when it shot. It kind of feels like that is the time. Although Wichita State was a bad team, losing record, it's just the fact that your season was over. You lost the game, and the fact that they found the way to make that comeback and win it.
Yeah,
I think they got the spring back in their step and they got the confidence back. Because even like we was talking about Javon Quinley after that game, and just how he was shooting 0 for 11, but he took that 3 and hit like the biggest shot of the game after being like 0 for 11. And although he was struggling shooting, he had 8 assists and 6 rebounds, and he only had like 2 turnovers or 1 turnover. So it's like he was a legit point guard, although he struggled. So it just kind of feels like they went through that stretch. It was a terrible stretch. Sometimes it happens. Unfortunately, it was against bad teams.
Right.
But it feels like that probably what happened Saturday was the season turning. So season what turns the season for them. So I feel like they'll do well the rest of the season.
And he mentioned UConn, who won the national championship last year. I want to say they had lost
They
had
did
a
the same
6-game
thing.
losing streak, right?
Yep.
It didn't include a loss to Rice, but it was a 6-game losing streak. Like I said, man, like I would not be surprised. I mean, like there's not a better team than Memphis that they got left to face. FAU is a good team. I don't think they're more talented than Memphis, man. And I think if these guys get it going, they could run the table, win the tournament. And it'll be afterthought. You know what I mean? I can definitely see that scenario, or I can see a scenario where they, lay an egg. I mean, but I think it's gonna be a fun run for sure going forward. Well, I tell you what, Parish, about to take a break, bro. I know you're gonna come back with me for the 3-pointer. We gonna do that. But like I said, about to take a break. When we come back, me and Parish Sharkey are gonna jump into the 3-pointer next on the Anthony Sain Show. See you guys in a minute.
Probably at least at one point every season.
Every year.
Yeah.
Every year.
That the rotations have just been too deep. Probably the most ironic part about it is this year, going into this year, and then with what we saw early in the season, we talked about it. Rotations aren't going to be a problem. If there's one thing that is pretty much set in stone, you know who your guys are, you know who your guys waiting in the wings are.
But then the Jordan Brown thing happens. Right. And Naquan Tomlin gets added, and Caleb Mills gets hurt. Right. And there's just things that sort of spiraled out of control on them.
Yeah, and then you go on a streak of losing, so you feel like you got to change things, and you're inserting people into the lineup that really haven't even played meaningful minutes, and so now it just has kind of gone off the rails.
I'm going to say this, and people are going to send your comments in. I don't care. I really don't care. That Rice game on Wednesday, he lost his mind.
Yeah.
Tune in to On the Bluff with Christian Fowler and Gabe Kuhn every Tuesday at 12 p.m. on the Bluff City Media YouTube channel.
So we've kind of talked about the lack of a culture. The lack of culture that this team seems to have. Like, there's not a true identity to them. And I'm just curious, how hard is that to have a culture when you only have Malcolm and Jaden back from last year? So you're not really retaining much. So it seems like
I think you can still have a culture that you're instilling from day one that they're here. I mean, he said it himself, like he'd been going easier and letting things slide that he normally wouldn't. Like, why are you doing that? Are you doing that because these guys are older and you think that they can get away with it and still win game? Like, why?
Yeah.
So I think the portal definitely plays a role, and he's got to establish and hold everybody to the same standard, no matter who it is. If it's a fifth-year senior or if it's a freshman that's walking in the door, like, you got to treat everybody the same way in the program and hold all of them to the same standard. And I don't think that happens.
Yeah.
Tune in to Tigers Untapped with TJ Willis and Trey Lasley every Wednesday at 3 p.m. on the Bluff City Media YouTube channel.
One of the original core four members, a pillar of this franchise. He walked so the new era could run. Marc Gasol is going to have his 33 hung in the rafters. But Marc really revitalized the Grizz, not only for me, but for a large segment of the Mid-South, right? Like, he was kind of the driving force behind that, because nobody could take over a game. Sans Zebo, nobody could take over a game like Marc Gasol could. Right. But when he was aggressive on offense, he was a walking bucket, man. Just that mid-range, like, elbow shot was just lethal. And so,
Mike Conley was the conductor, is what they call it. Marc Gasol was equally that to this team. He was the heart and soul. He was such a Eurobasket kind of basketball player. He was so
smart,
cerebral,
smart.
He knew what you were doing before you knew what you were doing, and it came to fruition so many times on the defensive end to the point to where he was the NBA Defensive Player of the Year.
Tune in to the $2 Sports Show with Rusty Witten and Drew Gann every Friday at 3 p.m. only on the Bluff City Media YouTube channel.
All right, y'all. Welcome back to the Anthony Sain Show. It's a 3-pointer where we talk about three things going on in the world of sports. Wild stuff going on, man. People running off at the mouth and saying wild shit, doing wild shit. And Kenny, everything I thought I knew, man, I realized I do not know. I didn't think there's a lot of stuff I thought this way. I thought it was one way, and I see now I've been lied to all my life, Kenny. When I go to the barbershop, you know,
yeah.
My barber. Shout out to my man Antonio Jones, man. P. Jones, man. I tell him to give me a fade, right? I've been getting it.
No. You got to ask for the Travis Kelce, bro.
Yeah, I got to the Travis Kelce.
God,
Kenny, did you know that you were getting the Travis Kelce? You kind of resemble Travis Kelce with the beard. You know, you got the Travis Kelce cut as well.
I get told that at my barbershop, I had a dude go, "Hey man, let me tell you something, bro." And I was like, "What?" He goes, "You look like Travis Kelce." And I was like, "That's better than Kevin Love, which is what I've been known for."
Right, you were Kevin Love forever, bro.
Yeah, I think Kevin Love.
But did you know, Paris? Did you know all this time, man, that we've been getting the Travis Kelce cut as black men? Did you realize it?
No, I don't subscribe to that.
Man, let me tell you, that New York Times writer is wild for that piece, man. Like, and that's I guess I get like, I guess I go just, man, why are you? I want to say this as respectfully as possible.
Yeah,
all of us know print media journalists here in Memphis, right? And a lot of them are very weird,
right? Jonah, what's Jonah's last name?
Dillon.
Jonah Dillon would never.
Mark Giannotto would never.
Never.
But it like I just
Jeff
want
Calkins.
Memphis.
Jeff might think that the fade is. I've never seen a fade.
Is that the Travis Kelce? Like that's what I'm saying. Like everybody got everybody got up in arms over this, and I'm like, bro, just think about it, man. That's Jeff Calkins writing a report about a haircut. Like, let's relax a little bit, man. This is New York Times, bro. This is nothing.
Right. Oh man, hilarious stuff. And also, are we ready? Something else, Kenny, I'm sure you're aware of as well. It's black people. We deal with the dilemma of white people just kind of taking shit, right?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, all right. and then sometimes, man, like, and sometimes we just kind of give y'all stuff, right? For example,
and I appreciate that. Thank you.
For example, like white people love R. Kelly's remix to Ignition. They used to love that song.
Right.
Until he started pissing on little girls, and they gave it back to us.
Then they gave it back.
White people took that song from us, right? We was like, hey, go ahead, remix to Ignition, y'all can have it, right? And also Mary J. Blige's the Dancery song. They love it. Y'all love it.
Yep.
We gave y'all that one too, right?
The whip and the nay. Thank you for that. We appreciate that.
Whipping the
the
yeet dance, y'all. Yeah, you can have it. We
Dougie.
Don't want it anymore, right?
We appreciate the Dougie. Thank you for that.
Nah, we need Dougie back though.
Y'all want the Dougie back?
Yeah, he wants the Dougie back.
We need it back eventually.
Okay, y'all can have it back.
Another one, man, that white people have kind of, it's not really white people, but it just became so mainstream. This became it's almost like the wave. Like it's the modern day wave at a sporting event. That's the swag surf, right?
Oh yeah.
Yep.
What person would be better than to take the swag surf and remake it than Taylor Swift, man? Like it's destined to be, bro. It's destined to be that she would take the swag surf and remake it.
What is she doing with it? Like, what do you think it's gonna sound like?
She's gonna do a remake of it.
Like, but what do you think it's gonna sound like?
A remake.
Give me a swag surf Taylor Swift version.
I don't know the words to the original swag surf.
Yeah, I don't know either.
I can tell you this though, when that judge dropped, you lost your mind if you think the U of M games ain't gonna drop the.
I just know the last swag surf. I just know the last one. I know the last one they did at the Grizzlies game. Never do it again.
Yeah, it went in. It didn't.
God, that was terrible.
No. We got this thing in Memphis where we like to cross. The in-game experiences.
Right.
University of Memphis, keep the swag surf. Leave. All we do is not all we do is win. Leave. Whoop that trick along. Here's the thing too, man. This is what bothers me about when the U of M does whoop that trick. Listen, bro. This is what bothers me when U of M does whoop that trick. Whoop that trick is not a celebration song. It's a rally song.
Right.
Like you play that. It's like a beginning of the fourth quarter. You know, we got a big lead, or we trying to come back, or momentum. It's like a rally song. Yep. You tell everybody whoop that trick. Let's go, whoop that trick, right? Or like the game was tight, then we start blowing them out. Then we started to whoop that trick, right? It's not like, oh, we won, so let's do whoop that trick. Like it's not that type of song, bro. And like U of M games just make it. It just don't hit right, bro. And y'all ain't been able to sing that shit in a while either, cause
hey, I am proud to say, man. I'm proud to say.
Don't sing that bitch against Wichita State, man. You're gonna want a buzzer beater. Go ahead.
As a Memphian, I'm proud to say that I was at the Grizzlies game when they brought the whoop that trick out for the first time. And you're exactly right. It was against the Clippers.
It was like a rally song. It's like
it was
a
rally
quarter
song. It was like the game wasn't in hand. The game wasn't over. It was, hey, we're about to get about to get crazy right now.
Key moment right here. Let's turn up. Yeah.
Yeah. That's
man,
what it
Terry
was.
Davis tried to argue me saying that whoop that trick started at a University of Memphis football game with Devin Steele. I was like, Terry, you are as wrong as hell, bro.
I was at the game. The Grizzlies introduced it.
Justin Baker, who's the music guy, he was like, no, man, I started it.
The Grizz, the mascot, they had that big ass ladder in the middle of the court, and they went out. He climbed all the way to the top of the ladder and dropped a banner that said like "whoop that trick" on it. That was the first time they ever did that.
Have we did whoop that trick at all for the Grizzlies? Like, it ain't no reason to play it this season at all. Like, have we done it at all though?
This season, they don't normally do it during the regular season. They normally it's always a playoff thing.
The last time I remember it, like really making an impact at the Grizzlies was when they actually brought old dude out. What's his name? The dude who did the song.
They did.
Al Capone.
Al Capizzi.
Yep.
When he came out against Golden State, and in that he was like, whoop Steph Curry. You remember that when he screamed out Steph Curry's name against anyway? Yeah. That's the last time I remember them doing that.
Yeah. But yeah, so University of Memphis, stop being Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift. But
hey, did you hear what the Super Bowl is doing? You hear what NORAD is doing? You know how every year at Christmas the NORAD, the satellite company or whatever it is, the government agency, they track Santa every Christmas.
Yeah.
You know they're tracking Taylor Swift's flight from Japan to America for the Super Bowl.
Yeah, there's some weird people out here, bro.
There's some weirdos out here, man.
Y'all gotta stop being strange. And speaking of weirdos, Michael Porter Jr.
Michael Porter. Yeah, I think you called him. I think you accidentally called him MAGA Porter Jr.
Yeah, by accident. Yeah, totally.
He had to right the first time. He did right.
Michael Porter Jr. Was on the Pivot Podcast. Pivot Podcast is a great podcast, but it just seems like a lot of wild takes come out of that show sometimes from the guests, man. So they do a good job of letting guys get caught up in their words. And hosts are, of course, Ryan Clark, Channing Crowder, and
Fred Jackson.
Fred Taylor, right? And
Taylor, excuse me. Fred Taylor.
Yeah, they had Michael Porter Jr. on the show, and they were talking about equity for the WNBA, right? And Michael Porter Jr., he's up there talking, and all this dumb stuff he's saying. He made one point that I can, okay, bro, that's your 10% making sense, right? And that point was, he was like, I think that you should pay ladies more, like period. Like everything else he said was relatively crazy. He was like, he's like, I don't think they should make what we make, but they should make more than what they're making, right? And I'm like, hey, you know what, Michael Porter Jr., I'm with you on that. Everything else you said sounded dumb, right? And then Ryan Clark comes in, and he tries to clean it up, right? He's like, I think they definitely should be making a higher percentage of the revenue, right? They should get a bigger revenue.
The revenue share should be more equal, right?
Right. And then Channing Crowder, who's like just the biggest dick, like,
oh my god, he's wild, like, dude. That dude is wild.
No, man, that stuff ain't interesting, man. And then Michael Porter Jr. was like, you know what, you're right.
Oh, Michael Porter Jr. doubled down.
Yeah, they should make the ribs 8 foot. Let the girls come down.
Like Ryan Clark is the ESPN guy. He's a part of all that. He tried to cover it up, clear it up, that kind of stuff. Tried to clean it up. Man. And Channing and Michael went double down, bro. It was wild.
All the dumb shit, bro. But here's the thing, bro. And I'll say this. You do not have to be a fan of the WNBA, right? Like, you don't. Like, if you don't enjoy it, you don't enjoy it. I'm a recent convert to being able to watch WNBA games and ladies college basketball games, and I really enjoy watching it now. I enjoy it. It's I don't have a team. I can't tell you a lot of players. I just randomly cut it on. I don't know who these ladies are, but it's good basketball. It's good hooping, so I watch it, right? And I've been converted over. And I think there are a lot of future stars that are coming out of college basketball that are going to. I think you're about to walk into a renaissance of the WNBA, right? But like I said, you don't have to enjoy it. And I think some of the takes people have are disingenuous about it. But I think that you just can't be an idiot, bro. You just Like you just can't say some of the stupid stuff that Michael Porter Jr. was saying, and you shouldn't feel that way. It's not just a matter of being politically correct. Like you really have to do you have to kind of check yourself, man. You know what I mean? Because I've went on rants about the WNBA before, and I was like, okay, I just don't enjoy it. Like I'm not a fan of it. Like I don't have to like this. You know what I mean? Just like I don't enjoy watching men's college basketball. And even when I was saying I didn't like the WNBA or didn't like women's college basketball, I would say, but here's the thing: both of them are better than men's college basketball. You know, and I still feel that way. I just think that, like I said, man, if you're looking at these women and you're not seeing the skill level of these ladies, man, you're just being a dummy, bro. Like these ladies can clearly play basketball. They're probably more fundamentally sound than a lot of guys in the league. If you just want to see just a exhibition of shot making, like for real, like real exhibition of shot making, yeah, turn it on, man. You'll see ladies that can make some incredible shots, bro.
All right, I got a question for you. I want to pivot for 1 second on this. Sticking to the WNBA, this is an argument that happened a while ago, and over the Christmas holidays, it was brought back up in my family get-togethers, and it was me versus everybody else in this argument. Do y'all know who Clay Travis is, right?
Oh, dummy.
Yeah, real dummy. Like Maga Porter Jr.'s best friend, basically.
Yeah. The guy who hired and fired Jason Whitlock.
Yeah. Two dummies working together, or used to work together. I think Jason Whitlock got fired within like 2 months. Yeah. But anyway, Clay Travis came out after, because Las Vegas Aces last year were a phenomenal basketball program. Like they were awesome all the way around. Probably going to be, contending for a championship again this next year. He came out, I think on Fox News, and made a wager with the Las Vegas Aces and basically said he believes that he could take a top level high school boys basketball program against the Las Vegas Aces. And he put $1 million bet up against it and basically said, if my team wins, then the Las Vegas Aces have to pay $1 million to my charity of choice. If the Las Vegas Aces win, then I'll pay $1 million to your charity or to give it to your franchise. What are your thoughts on that?
I think it's typical Clay Travis just being a jackass, man. Like, why does that even matter, bro? Like, why would you even have? Why do that, bro? You know what I mean? Like, the WNBA is who it is. It's got its audience. It's been working for a while. It's going into a great period of time right now with great stars coming into the league. Ladies that have just been phenomenal leaders for the next, wave of their franchise. Why does that even matter, bro? Like, why does any of that matter at all, bro? Like, it's just a stupid conversation. It's just a stupid conversation, bro. Like, it altogether. So, but I don't expect anything different than from out of Clay Travis at all. So,
I agree.
But yeah, like the whole who would win, who cares? Like, I wouldn't mind seeing that shit though.
I wouldn't mind it either.
I wouldn't mind seeing it, but
because it'll never happen. It'll never happen. But anyway, I just thought it was. I reject that whole argument that Clay Travis makes just on its face because it's Clay Travis, number one.
Yeah, exactly.
Like I'm like, that dude's a jackass, so I'm not paying attention to the things he says.
And then some of those guys, like you take the top high school team in the country, some of those guys are going to give those ladies hell. Like they're going to be good. Like you're talking about guys who are
like Cooper Flagg is the number one rated high school player in the country.
Right? Yeah. Those dudes like that is going to be hard to deal with. But those teams aren't that deep, bro. Like
no.
You got pros on the other side. And right. I know it's been situations where people say, man, it was WNBA girls playing against Division II players or Division III players and getting cooked or whatever. I mean, I'm not gonna get into the whole biology of it all, but man, who cares, bro? Like, let the ladies do what they do, bro.
Yeah, let them win, man. They're playing well. It's a good product. It really is a good product, like y'all said, though. It's a good product.
It's a product that's getting better and better by the year, man. And so let the ladies do their thing for sure. Speaking of doing their thing, man, why won't Rick Pitino and the rest of these coaches let these college athletes do their thing? Rick Pitino came out and said the college athletes need a salary cap for the NIL. And I'm like, since when are we? Let's start with the coaches if you want.
Let's go salary cap on the coaches. Let's go salary cap on the coaches.
So crazy. Yeah, it's some crazy stuff, man. Like like seeing these athletes get their money, just got these dudes in the chokehold, bro. It's like they don't know how to function unless they got total control over these players, man. You know what I mean? When they were the ones who were making all the money and these kids were struggling to eat, and they were selling jerseys with their number on the back of it. You know what I mean? That wasn't a problem. But now these kids got their own money. They can't talk to them. You know, used to hear stories about certain coaches threatening to send kids back to the projects and all that kind of stuff. You know, you don't hear that stuff anymore because their star player is making a nice little fraction of what you're making as well in a lot of cases, man, per year. So
you know how much you think Rick Pitino makes at St. John's a year?
I'm sure he makes more than any player. His total combined NIL salary, I'm sure he makes more than that.
Sure, you know what?
He $5-6 million.
He wants a salary cap at $1.5 to $2.5 million salary cap for every team. Right? You know how much this man makes? He makes three times. He makes 3 times that, $7.7 million a year.
It's crazy, bro. Yeah. It's crazy. Like it's, and you're seeing these guys. Shout out to all the GOAT coaches, but you're seeing these coaches get up out of here, man, because it's flipping, man.
Get up out of here, then. That's fine. Get up out of here.
Get out of here for sure, man. But yeah, that's been the 3-pointer for today, man. I tell you what, we're about to take a break. We coming back inside the Sain brain here on Anthony Sain Show. See you guys in a minute.
Look, at the end of the day, this is all Penny's fault.
More or less. I mean, yeah. Right? I mean, he composes the roster. He helps build the culture.
And is he going to hold himself accountable, and is he going to figure out a way to fix it?
It's a good question.
You got, 6 weeks left in the season for Selection Sunday? 5 or 6 weeks?
This has been a common theme throughout his entire career at Memphis. Is chemistry issues, whether it's been with 5 freshmen, whether it's been with a healthy mix of freshmen and veteran, or whether it's been a team full of veterans.
I mean, there's no doubt. We said it going into the year. This is absolutely by far and large the most talented team that he's had. I guess the 21 team would give this team a run for its money, but I would say this is the worst team that he has had.
Tune in to Tigers Untapped with TJ Willis and Trey Lasley every Wednesday at 3 p.m. on the Bluff City Media YouTube channel.
Penny, after the game, for those that haven't seen his opening statement, I thought, you know, for a lot of people that are just diehard Memphis fans, they probably read it as a rally or heard it as a rallying cry, like, oh, yeah, you know, awesome, go Tigers. Then he kept going, and he was talking about the media, and he said, some of the stuff I've read is laughable. Some of the stuff I've heard is laughable. It felt like he was gaslighting the media and a lot of the fan base that have been sort of in that naysayer camp. When he says, like, just because we have a downtime and these guys have a downtime doesn't mean that we're, you know, have chemistry issues. It doesn't mean that something is broken about our team, yada, yada, yada. The only thing I'd say to him calling, like, the media talking about that laughable is you're the one who created those things, Penny.
Right.
In the end of the day, you can blame the media for what they're writing, but they're writing those things because you created a narrative about this team on the front end.
Tune in to On the Bluff with Christian Fowler and Gabe Kuhn every Tuesday at 12 p.m. on the Bluff City Media YouTube channel.
And my best of the week is these little old Southern ladies who come in for their physical therapy and bring me sweets, man. Lemon pound cake with fresh blueberries in it.
Gosh.
Or
and you know it's always good when they say,
"Oh, dude,
like what's this called?" And it's always like, "It's a lemon surprise."
When you're taking care of these little old ladies, like they appreciate you so much, man, and they're just like, "I just want to shower you with gifts."
Very grateful, right?
I am very grateful. They are too, and they bring me sweets. My favorite story about this was when I was working in Magnolia in the outpatient clinic there in Corinth. I had a lady in her, I was asking her during her eval, like, what are your hobbies? What do you like to do? She said, I like to bake, and I make the best cheesecake you've ever had in your life. I said, I don't believe it. She goes, well, I'll make you one. I said, okay.
Played that perfectly.
She came back to her next appointment with a cherry, strawberry, and blueberry. And I'll PG it up. But she said, I know what you did, you little SOB. And it worked.
Tune in to the $2 Sports Show with Rusty Witten and Drew Gann every Friday at 3 p.m. only on the Bluff City Media YouTube channel.
right, y'all. Welcome back to the Anthony Sain Show. Final segment of the show, man. Inside the Sain Brain, where I talk about something that's on my mind. This might upset some people, may or may not. Talking about award shows, gentlemen. I want to know whether you guys get up for them. Do you watch them? Do they mean anything to you? The Grammys was last Sunday. I did not catch any of it. We recorded my new show, the Saint Asylum podcast. It comes on at 8, something like 8 to almost 10. We were recording that. I'm going to go get something to eat after that. I ain't see it. I did hear about things that happened. I heard that Jay-Z did a domesticated Kanye West speech for the people. A lot of people talking about that. Taylor Swift announced she's got an album coming out. She won Album of the Year, I think, for the 4th time. What else happened? Tracy Chapman performed Fast Car.
Okay, that was dope.
All right, bro, let me say this.
That was dope.
That's what I was waiting on. I remember that song when I was young, of course, because it was a pretty big deal.
Yeah.
I don't get the buzz about it now in 2024. I think like Luke Combs redid the
Luke
song,
Combs
right?
did a version of it.
And I think it's super dope. Like the way like the rules, all that stuff works. I think it's super dope that Luke Combs isn't making the money off of that song. That Tracy Chapman is getting paid like I forgot which podcast I'm on, like an MF for the rights to a song or whatever. But here's my thing about award shows. I watch them, when I can, especially if it's an artist I really want to see their album win, whatever. But it's all just kind of like whatever artist shows up and performs, that's who's going to win 9 times out of 10. And it's like, as black people, like we get mad. We'll say, well, these awards aren't for us. And then we get mad every year when we get proven, okay, they're not for y'all. You know what I mean? I never understood why so many people make such a big deal about these award shows, man. Because it's like I'm a big time Drake fan. And I know it's hard to say that today because my boy Drake just out here wilding today, man. But
man,
there's definitely a lot of mixed reviews for the video that he put out, man. But the video that leaked out, whatever he was doing. But like I'm a Drake fan. Like I don't care if Drake wins the Grammys, and I'm gonna be listening to the album regardless. Like I don't care about none of that. That's the same thing he said to Travis Scott a few years ago. And I'm gonna ask you guys, like, do y'all watch award shows? Do you care? Like, why do you watch them? What are your thoughts on award shows, John?
So, yeah, no. So most of the time, I don't know when the award shows come out, right? So like the Grammys came out the other night. I didn't know it was on. So I'm not like, oh yeah, the Grammys coming up. Oh, BT was coming up. I'm watching it. If it happens to be on and I'm bored and not doing nothing like I was Sunday, I caught the last 30 minutes to an hour of the Grammys, right? It was like, okay, I'm bored, nothing else on TV. I go and flip it over and see. The Grammys on. Okay, I flip it on and see what's going on. I saw some stuff about Jay-Z online. All right, let me flip into it. Now I saw stuff about Killer Mike. That's what I saw about him getting it.
Yeah. I forgot about that part.
After doing winning three Grammys basically, and DJ Paul was part of it. He won the Grammy with him. So I decided to tune in on that. But typically, that's why I say yes and no. I'm not too big on them, but if I'm bored, I ain't got nothing else to watch, I'll go and flip it on and check it out.
Yeah. And it might be a certain song I want to see somebody perform. Like the year that Chance the Rapper won Album of the Year. I really want him to win that, and I want to see him perform. So I watched the Grammys to see that. But it's like I'm a music guy too. I like a lot of. I just don't. The whole award thing just don't do it for me.
Nah.
It's just
it's
all kind of phony to me.
I watched
what
like
you at on that
stuff.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Perry.
Yeah, I watched like hip hop stuff. Like they had the hip hop 50th anniversary thing. I don't think it was necessarily a award show, but like that, or when they do the ciphers, I like watch that type of stuff.
Yeah, right. Where you at?
Yeah. I am an unabashed girl dad, and so my daughter is like really getting into 2 very specific things this year. One of them being Taylor, and one of them being the Kansas City Chiefs. And so she's been watching. She's watched like the last 4 Kansas City Chiefs games with me. Like she'll sit down and watch the entire game. And it's like quite literally just to see Taylor Swift, but she's actually like asking me questions about football too. So like that's kind of dope.
Yeah.
But like the other night, man, like, listen, bro, y'all, Parish, you'll know how it is soon enough, man. But when you got a kid, bro, and they want to do something, I don't care what kind of moral high ground I've ever had about anything.
Yeah,
man, that. Like like, you know what I'm saying? So like I sat down and watched the Grammys with her because she wanted to. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't normally get into them. I do like watching kind of the mashup artists, like when you have like artists that don't normally tour together or go on the road together, them do their thing. Like a few years ago, it was at the country music television. I'm not a country music guy, but Justin Timberlake and Chris Stapleton performed together. One of the baddest mashups ever. Like, it was crazy. I like that kind of stuff, man, but I'll be frank with you, dude. I think most of the artists out there are like hella weird, bro. Like, really weird. And so I don't really care much about what they have to say about anything. But man, I watched it because my daughter was like, yo, bro, like, I want to watch the Grammys tonight. I'm like, yes, ma'am, whatever you want.
Right.
So
same stuff with Gabe, man. Gabe made me get back into wrestling a few years ago.
Yeah.
And now he's got me watching NFL with him. I'm like, man, I don't give a crap about this crap. But like I said, I grew up on the 49ers, man, and Gabe's got me pulling for the 49ers again. And they're in the Super Bowl. So yeah, I guess we'll try to.
Our kids make us change, man. I'm an old dog can learn new tricks, apparently, man.
Oh yeah, for sure, man. Especially when they little bitty. When they little bitty, they definitely could get you.
So y'all on the opposite side for the Super Bowl, I see.
Oh yeah, it's 49ers versus for sure, man.
Yeah, it's a Kansas City Chiefs house over here, man. I'm not even a Kansas City fan, but that's who we're cheering for.
Man, Gabe knows the entire NFL, man. Hey, y'all pull for Gabe too, man. He getting basketball season, get ready to start. He's out there. He said he's a mix between Karl Anthony Towns and Jaren Jackson Jr. Okay. So
I love that dude so much, man. That kid is so awesome.
Gabe, he's kind of learning how to run the court and kind of how like get to his spots. Because the whole time last year, I was trying to tell him, like, Gabe, just because you can see the guy with the ball doesn't mean he can make that pass to you. You got to get where his eyes are. If you're playing like a big man, you got to get to where his eyes are. You can't expect him to see you. He's kind of learning it now. He knows how he knows how to get out on the break and kind of get to where the guard can see him now. So he's getting ready for a fun season, man, for sure.
As somebody who played post a lot in my life, playing basketball, just teach him this one thing this season. 90% of the work is done before he gets the ball.
Yep.
So when he gets in that post, man, tell him to use that ass and set seal off, all that kind of stuff, man. I love beast, man. That's one thing.
He's a wing, though. He thinks he's a wing, though. Like, he don't want to be a center. He thinks he said, Dad, I want to be a small forward.
So
I want to be a small forward, but I think they're going to try to maybe be the center. I don't want to be the center. I want to be like the small forward. I say, Gabe, hey, you go do you then, man. But he's put the work in. Gabe's out there in practice, man. He took his braids down. He had his hair in an afro. He had like one of those tie headbands, not the regular headband, like the tie-up kind. He had that on. He had a John Morant jersey. He had the fresh Lunar New Year's on. Oh, John, you could tell Gabe nothing the other day, man, for sure. Well, I tell you what, guys, we about to slide up out here on this one today, man. It's been a good show. Parish, appreciate you, of course, every Wednesday coming on with me, man. Going remote today. We'll probably be remote again for Friday. Yeah, we're about to slide about this joint, man. For Parish Sharkey, for Kenny Stubblefield, this is Anthony Sain. We'll see you guys next time, y'all. We out.
Thank you for listening to the Anthony Sain Show. If you enjoyed this episode, leave a rating and a review wherever you download your podcasts. Also, like and subscribe to Bluff City Media's YouTube page. For comprehensive coverage of Memphis sports, head over to www.bluffcitymedia.co and find out how you can become an insider. We will see you back here next week.